Good day, planet Earth. Michael Litten, the last DJ, playing what he wants to play, saying what he wants to say. Shout out to the late, great Tom Petty. And broadcasting from the super cool, wicked awesome DRS ATL studio right here in Roswell, Georgia. And it would not be a Ride the Vibe without my friend and the proprietor of the studio, Wahid Gomes, at the controls, making everything happen. And y'all, I'm super, super stoked to have Tom Killner on the show. Tom is an award-winning powerhouse vocalist and guitar player who straddles the line between genres with soulfully infused blues, southern rock, gotta like that here in the South, country, Americana, winning over audiences across the UK, Europe with the band's highly dynamic show that takes you on a roller coaster of hooky riffs and soulful songs. Tom, welcome to The Vibe.
Hey, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, my gosh. We're so fired up. You're coming all the way to us from the UK.
Yeah. Just local then. Yeah.
Just a mere 5 hours ahead of us here in Roswell, Georgia. And I have to start out the show with a shout out to, I don't believe you've met her, but the amazing Lucy Pillar with All Right Now Entertainment, who is the one that, along with your PR guy, Wes O'Neill, really facilitated this introduction to you. And the just no small world, or it is a small world kind of thing. And, the whole 7 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon, and really with Lucy, it's probably 1 to 2 degrees separation with all the musicians, given her relationship with Paul Rogers. But she has facilitated a tour with a local band out of the North Georgia mountains, Hush Money. And they're coming over to join you. Talk about about that a little bit, if you would, Tom.
Well, it was really cool. My management, John, somehow got in contact with Lucy, or Lucy got in contact with him, or something like that. And we just said, well, these guys are coming over.
Yeah.
Can you? Would you like to do some shows with us? And we'd be stoked to do some shows with myself.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do it. And so in I think it's May.
Yeah,
we've got the little tour coming up with Hush Money. I met the guys the other day on a Zoom call, and really cool guys.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to hitting some venues over here with them, and it's going to be a really good time.
I love it. Well, I talked to Greg, the drummer, this morning, and asked him if he had anything he wanted to share with you. I told him you were going to be on the show, and they've been on a while ago. But he said, yeah, we're really looking forward to hearing Tom's album, and we can't wait to get over there. So anything that you'd like to share with them that they should be aware of coming over to the UK? Any?
What did I tell them the other day? It was over here, try and find the best places to eat before the show or after the show that doesn't come with salmonella.
Oh God! Whoa! And you're going to guide them on that, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I hope so. We've got like a list of fast food places that we've been to over the years, in various towns, that the good ones and the
not so good ones. Yeah. And then anything you'd like them to bring you from the South, a little taste of the South, anything?
Well, smoked meat. Barbecue would be great.
All right, well, let's see if they can do that. Hey, Hush Money, you hear that? Tom wants some barbecue. So see if you can hook them up, or at least barbecue sauce, some Southern barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that'd be mighty fine.
And how about moonshine? You into any moonshine?
Oh yeah, that'd also hit the spot, I think. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, for your fans that are legion and continuing to grow as you release these great albums, but that may not be familiar in the UK, although we've done, thanks to Lucy, a lot of shows with some of your compatriots over there, but they might not be familiar with Ride the Vibe. The way we roll the show, it's a podcast, so they can sit back in a comfortable environment. We're getting closer to warm weather here, where we can be out on floats on the water, etc., and then listen to the show, get a beverage of their choice, and in the studio, we are featuring, and in fact, my mate Wahid just brought in a shot of Old Soul whiskey bourbon. And so we're going to feature that on the show. And this Old Soul bourbon single barrel, comes from Cathead. And Cathead is a distillery in Mississippi. And the term Cathead, Tom, that you and your fans may not be familiar with, but it was a compliment used in Mississippi, first coined back in the day by blues musicians as a nod to artists they respect. So we would say of Tom Killner, Tom's a cathead. Hush Money's a cathead. So we've got some Cathead Old Soul whiskey here in the studio, and we're going to play 6 of your songs off your new album, which has not even been released yet. And so this show will be held until you get the release date going. Cheers to Wahid. And this is also in celebration of our 6th anniversary, Tom, doing Ride the Vibe.
Cheers, guys.
So we're lifting a little glass of Old Soul. We're going to play 6 of your songs, and then we're going to chat about the music. So that's the way we roll, Ride the Vibe. And I think, Wahid, without further ado, so we can sip on our Cathead Old Soul, let's cue up Devil's Gate off of Tom Killner's latest release, Borrowed Time. And you can find this album, www.tomkillner.com. And you all, we're only going to play a couple of minutes because we really want you to go out and buy the album from the artist where they can make a little bit of money. It's a fantastic album and well worth the purchase. So we'll be right back on Ride the Vibe.
Tell my story, don't see fame or glory. This is just happened to me. Didn't take last chances, too many failed romances. All that mattered was my grief. Oh, I blundered, shoot and kill. The law haven't caught me now. I guess they never will. In all my time goes a lot of hearts to break. That's what happens. Live inside the devil's gate. Whoa, whoa. Didn't want to work for nothing, just want my pockets bulging. I got it any way I pleased. Oh, spend my time, work my ass for the man. Life's gotta have more meaning than this. Oh, I blundered, shouldn't kill. The law hadn't caught me, I'd be a free man still. In all my time goes a lot of hearts to break. That's what happens. Live inside devil's gate. Whoa, whoa.
Ride the Vibe. Michael Litten, the last DJ, playing what he wants to play. And in this case, playing the killer new release from Tom Killner, Borrowed Time. That was Devil's Gate. And if you see Tom listed as playing in your UK, US town anytime soon, go see him. I know I will. And that's a quote from Exclusive Magazine. And Tom and I were just chatting about him coming over to the States sometime soon, perhaps. And maybe teaming up with Hush Money on a tour over here, since Hush Money's going over there. But we hope that happens. Tom, talk about Devil's Gate and this project, Borrowed Time.
Oh, I mean, this record, I mean, I think from his last record, which was Get Back Up, which was released in 2018, it's been about 6 years since I've had a new record out.
And that was an independent release, wasn't it, Get Back Up?
Yeah, Get Back Up was the first independent release that I did after I parted ways with the last record label.
Cleopatra, and you had done Hard Road and live with them,
Yeah,
right?
I did Hard Road and live with them guys. Yeah. And like I say, Get Back Up was the first one that I did fully independent.
Yeah.
And then this one's the same. I've gone down the independent route again.
Okay.
To release Borrowed Time. Yeah. And I mean, this record, I I started writing majority of the tracks for when we hit lockdown with the first wave of that, and all those wonderful events that we would like to brush past. But I mean, I don't really like going back to it, but that's the.
It's a reality, sure.
Yeah, it's the reality of that. The tracks were first written when I had that time where we all the tours had stopped. Everything had shut down. I mean, Cosmic Sounds, which is the first single.
Your single,
that was the first one that I actually wrote purposely for this record. But there's also been songs on there that I've had for years that we've been touring around that just never got recorded and never got put on the
Was Devil's Gate one of those?
No, it wasn't. That was sort of one of the later ones for this record, actually. Okay. But Devil's Gate is one of those songs that sort of taking inspiration from like the Highwaymen, Waylon Jennings, that sort of feel with like J.J. Cale, just telling that sort of more of like just an imaginary tale, really. Which on this record, there's sort of songs about relationships and sort of how you're feeling and all that lot. But there's also sort of some storytelling as well.
I love it. It definitely has that devil who goes down to Georgia, kind of drinks some moonshine or some Old Soul Cathead whiskey.
Oh, definitely. I mean, for me, it's definitely sort of a Western kind of tale about a guy that's just basically, he doesn't want to work for a living, but he's on the wrong side of the law, and finally they catch up with him. So,
is there anything autobiographical in that, Tom?
Well, I mean, apparently being a musician is not a real job, so I suppose it has its reflections.
Awesome.
So people keep on telling me. Yeah.
Now, talk about, without getting into the details and the nitty-gritty, but what's freeing about being independent versus being on a label? How did that decision come about?
I think it's that you have got complete control over how you do things. I mean, having a label on paper looks great. People are still quite impressed with that. I mean, having a label has been a big thing since the music industry started. Yeah. But it's now that you've got the tools available to you. Whether that's online distribution. I mean, the internet's opened up a whole sort of world of you can do this yourself. You've just got to be a little bit smart about it. And it is tough. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It is difficult when you've got a small team around you. That is one thing I would say, is that having a label, you've got their team to support you if they're doing that. And but having a small team, you've got to work your ass off
and have the right people. And again, I mean, have to give a shout out to Wes O'Neill, because I've been doing this now 6 years, and I mean, Wes is just, as your PR guy, just top notch. I mean, his follow up just stellar.
Finding Wes has been like great. I mean, we've had people that I know that have had horror stories with PR.
Right.
And basically, it's just to chuck your money in and hope something comes back.
Well,
but no, Wes is one of the good guys in this industry, and
well, I bet I've been blessed to have been working with him, and he's just been unbelievable, getting me everything I needed to get somewhat prepared for the show. Well, segueing a little bit, because I've listened to all the your albums and loved them, and wanted to ask specifically about the live album and how you selected those songs, Tom, because it's just, I mean, again, definitely, folks, go out and buy this album, Borrowed Time, because you're going to hear some great music here on this. But I would go back in his discography once you've gotten Borrowed Time in your collection. But talk about how you picked some of those songs, because it's a wide range.
Yeah, I mean, the live album was sort of like a stopgap between I mean, we're doing the live shows, and all of it's covers. And the reason behind that is basically I didn't want to sell any more rights to my to my original songs.
Yeah.
So we did another album, and we did it live, and we basically just recorded the songs that we really loved.
Yeah.
By artists that we really love. I mean, there's like the original Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green.
Yeah.
That's like one of the opening tracks. We've got the Allman Brothers on there.
Yes, Whipping Post.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, Stevie Wonder even.
I know, with Higher Ground. I love that.
Yeah,
well, and you've got the weight on there. And today is Richard Manuel's birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know that. That's great.
And so, and I would say to folks, if they don't know, the band. I mean, shame on you, hey. But get music from the Big Pink. And this I didn't know, Tom, which is kind of a crazy thing. But so, God bless Richard Manuel, passes away way too young at 42 years old in 86. But Eric Clapton on his August album, so here's the connection with the UK, right? He writes Holy Mother, and that was a tribute to Richard Manuel. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how does that happen?
I mean, we've got another connection to Eric there. Is with last year we were actually me and the bass player and drummer was doing a project with Ruth Clapton, which is Eric's daughter.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, which was really cool.
Wow, what was the project, Tom?
It was she was looking for somebody to do some writing with.
Oh, my gosh.
We're just exploring just different things. It's not what you would expect.
Yeah.
From Eric's sort of lineage. It was like very different music to what you would expect, but it was really cool to be working on that.
Wow. What is her? She vocalist, guitarist? What's her?
She's a vocalist. Yeah.
Vocalist. Okay. And a singer songwriter.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. The time that we came up with the musical ideas of that, and probably working with a lyricist for it and seeing what we could come up with.
I love it. And he's got 4 daughters. She's the oldest,
I think so.
Yeah.
Without going into it, I'm not particularly sure, but
yeah, right. Well, he splits his time. I think he's got place in Ohio somewhere, as I understand, which is kind of cool. But at any rate, I want to come back and talk about your mates that are playing with you on this album. But I'd love to cue up, if we could, Wahid, One Day at a Time.
Hello there, friend. How you doing? Come along, have a drink with me. Stay a little longer, ain't no hurry. Got no places that I gotta be. Take my time and I'm doing well. Come along, ways is there. What tomorrow will bring, we gotta take it one day at a time. Right now. Do you remember when we were younger, in late summer, playing barefoot in the rain? Oh, what you see now when you look in the mirror, recognize who's looking back at you. Take my time and I'm doing well. Come along, way since then. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? We gotta take it one day at a time. All right.
That is One Day at a Time off of Tom Killner's new release, Borrowed Time, which will be out soon. Ride the Vibe has had a chance to preview it thanks to Tom and Wes O'Neill, and just played it on over and over and over again and love it. So wanted to talk about your bandmates, Wes Brook on keys and Hammond, and Callum Houghton on bass and Rich Hunter on drums, and then talk about this song, of course, Tom.
Yeah. Well, nobody can pronounce the bass player's name.
Oh, okay, good.
So I mean, I was pronouncing it wrong for the first tour.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad because I botched things up, and I'm the last DJ. I can say what I want.
It's Callum Houghton on bass.
Houghton. Okay.
It's a really strange pronunciation to how it's spelled. But,
Yeah.
So I mean, it's been great working with these guys on this record.
Yeah.
I mean, Wes has been playing in the band since the live album, actually, which was 2017, 2016, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's been a fixture in the band. I mean, Joe, when we hit lockdown, we had a band change about. And Rich Hunter came in on drums.
Okay. Yeah.
Callum came in on bass.
Yeah.
And that's been the core unit for quite a while now.
How'd you guys meet? What was the connection? How'd you?
Well, I've known Rich on drums since I was about 13.
Oh,
when I was
wow.
doing sort of jam sessions around the area.
Yeah.
So I've known Rich quite a while on and off.
Yeah.
And I was running a jam down at one of the local venues, and he used to come along and play with us. Callum I've known since he was about 13.
Oh my gosh.
Which I'm a bit older than Callum. But
Yeah.
I remember seeing him around at jams and things.
Yeah.
And Wes, this was it was, like I say, just before we were doing the live album.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, have you considered a keys player?" I'm like, "Yes, but I just haven't found one yet." So yeah, it was sort of like sent some tracks over that we'd done before, and it played over him. I was like, "Yeah, that's cool."
Wow.
Well, welcome to the band.
Sign him up, yeah. And we were talking about when we were listening to that great song, One Day at a Time. So it was you and Callum that were working with Ruth Clapton writing, and you were telling me that you were in a house, and over the fireplace was the gold record for August, the album we were talking about with Holy Mother.
Yeah, it was a little bit surreal. We went in quite.
I bet so.
We went in quite British. Went for a cup of tea.
Yeah,
and that there was just this August big plaque on the wall with.
Oh my God!
I think it was platinum. I think it was a platinum album.
Yeah, right. Probably.
I was like, so she was like, "Oh, who's your influences?" And I'm like, "Well, he's above the fireplace."
Your dad is one, yeah.
You can't sort of get away from that.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it could feel a little bit awkward, just because of the family connection. But
right.
Everything was cool.
I love it. And One Day at a Time, it sounds like it may have had some roots in the lockdown phase, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think this one was coming out of lockdown. In fact, it would have been one of the sort of later tracks, and I think it was just reflecting on that period where a lot of people, we were locked away for quite a long time, not seeing anybody. I mean, I know I didn't see my girlfriend for about 3 months during the first stuff, but it was sort of just where people's headspaces could be, me mine included, where it's sometimes that you could feel like you've lost who you think you are, and I mean, there's a line in there where it's, when you look in the mirror, do you recognize who looking back at you? And that's sort of trying to reconnect with yourself and remembering the things that you enjoy, and it's going to be okay. You just got to keep taking it one day at a time.
Brilliant advice. Well, brilliant advice. regardless of what the situation is. I think for all of us, you know.
Yeah. I think it was one of those songs that I wanted the listener, if they've had any sort of issues or things like that, there's somebody else out there that's going through exactly the same, and you're not alone.
Yeah. Well, and I think anyone that would say, "Oh no, I haven't had any issues," liar.
Yeah, I think it's all a case of how you deal with it,
of course,
and how you can you just basically deal with it. In my case, it's writing songs.
Yeah, brilliant songs. Well, how did you relate? Did you relate then to Clapton and Van Morrison's kind of this has got to stop? We got to the couple songs they did that were sort of slamming the whole process and time to get musicians back working and all the rest.
Yeah, I mean, it's at some point obviously you couldn't stay locked away forever,
right?
You just, for musicians, especially over here. I mean, I don't know about in anywhere else in the world, but support for musicians was next to non-existent.
No, it's the same. It was the same here in the States, and that's why my heart breaks, because that was a means of, as you know all too well, selling the swag, selling the CDs, getting people recognizing, making some money with the gigs, and then when all that goes away, I mean, you're left with Spotify as 0.00001 cent per tune. I mean,
yeah, tell me about that.
Buy me a burgers and mash, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean. Like I said, the support for the perform and the venues as well. There was very little at that point coming in for them, so it was basically for a lot of people, it was that we can't afford to keep doing this anymore.
Right, exactly.
It's time to go deliver pizzas or things like that.
Well, and a lot of the venues here in the States, are no more, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's same here. I mean, I think it's. They were working out about a third of UK venues have gone. And it's only sort of carried on from then, really.
Well, and I think also people's habits have changed. So people aren't, from what I hear from my musician friends, the crowds aren't as much as they were prior to. They're not drawn.
Yeah, I think there's still the hesitance.
Correct.
Left over from that time. The patterns in tickets seems to have changed as well, where now it seems to be that they will decide either on the week or the night of the show. Right. when you get to the show, you're coming up to the shows and you've sold about 20 tickets or something like that. And then it's like, well, what are we going to do here? So you've got to do the show because you've got to play for
whoever's there. Right, exactly. Well, and I think, the artists that I knew you followed, my friend Peter Perkins, who does that intro and outro, Better Late Than Never, he tells me a story of being in a bar in Pittsburgh, and he's like the only one there, and the artist is Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I have heard that story about Steve.
Peter's sitting there in the front row going, "Whoa, my God, this guy! Who is this guy?"
Yeah,
and but they were playing. They played to the band. I mean, we referenced them. Same thing. They're playing to nobody. They just were playing.
I think that's a story that just goes throughout.
Yes,
music, even classic bands. When you see. Take the Arctic Monkeys, they're a local band for us. Now they play to about 5 people in a pub in Sheffield, where we are, and look at them now.
Big. I know. Yeah. Well, one of my favorite stories from here in Roswell, I'm seeing at a venue, outside venue in my backyard, like 5 minutes away, the Revivalists in 2013. And now they're selling out multiple shows at Red Rocks. And it's like, whoa, that was a treat.
Yeah.
That was a treat.
Well, you can say you were there.
Correct. You go, and their energy and everything is just it's just magnified. Well, enough about that. We got to get back to Tom and TomKillner.com, KILLNER. And that's where you can buy the music. Because talking about all this, at least y'all go out and it's a great album, fantastic album. Go out and buy it so Tom can make a little bit of money. And then if you're in the UK, you can go and see him at, look on his website, got all the shows listed. We won't go through that here. And then in the United States, put some pressure on someone. I don't know who. Lucy Pillar. Talk to Lucy. Reach out to Lucy at All Right Now Entertainment and see if she can run a double bill of Hush Money and Tom Killner here in the States, in the South, so we can get Tom some barbecue and some moonshine and some Old Soul whiskey, or Old Soul vodka, either one, because he is an old soul, and Cathead supports live music. And Wahid, if we could cue up Borrowed Time, the title track from Tom's great new album.
Can they take your money, flipping on up, going down, just waiting for your moment of glory. Sarah standing on a corner, wondering how life might have been, how she thinks about her daughter. This time she's got to get clean. We're all caught in the headlight, gonna get caught in your hit and run. Ain't no point waiting for the next life, gonna hit you like a Gatling gun. You got the look in your eye, dancing with the devil, ain't no friend of mine. After all, we're all landing on borrowed time. On borrowed time. Here comes good time Charlie, flying so high nothing brings him down. He ain't looking for no trouble, gonna get it some way somehow. Johnny and the boys got it made, got a deal and gotta get paid. Make, steal and borrow, like there ain't tomorrow, gonna get it any way they can.
That is Borrowed Time, the title track off of Tom Killner's great new album, TomKillner.com. Go out and buy it, y'all. Come on now. If you're not going to gigs and, again, Spotify, that's all well and good, but please, I've had folks come on the show and said, oh, yeah, I just got my Spotify check and I can go out and get a pizza. Can't get the bottle of wine or the beer with the pizza, but I can get the pizza. So, you got to play it a million times. Talk about that title track, and then also want to have you talk about your formative years growing up in Rotherham. Did I get that right? Rotherham?
Rotherham. Yeah, I'm trying to pronounce it like you now. Rotherham.
Rotherham. Rotherham.
Yeah,
cool. So Borrowed Time, title track. Great song.
Yeah, so, that one... that one came about. That was one of the last tracks to be
interesting.
I think we were just jamming, and sort of I've had that riff knocking around for quite a while. So it must be all right if I can remember it without recording it.
Interesting.
That's generally how I think a song has legs, is if I can remember the track without writing it down.
Yeah,
if there's a hook line or something like that. But, yeah, we were just jamming it, and I was sort of mumbling the words as you do, sort of ad-libbing the words as you're going through while you're writing. And this line, Borrowed Time, just came up for some reason, and it was like, yeah, that's it, that's cool, because we're all on sort of a finite line of time. When you look at it, it's just what you do with the time that you're given is entirely up to you. But that song was the influence behind it.
Yeah,
was the rehearsal space that we've got in Sheffield is in an area where it's sort of known for its prostitutes and drug dealers and all that sort of tapestry of life.
Yes.
And it's the lines in there. It's like, there's gamblers, there's politicians, there's all walks of life, and it's just a song about that. There's like little stories per verse about just everyday people.
Yeah,
and that's ultimately what that song ended up being about.
I love it. So prophetic, and it doesn't really. You're at 28. I'm a bit older than that, and I have a foundation for premature infants, and it doesn't matter whether you're a premature infant. We're all on borrowed time at whatever age we're at, right? It's,
we're all, like I say, we're all here. We're all borrowing that time while we're here. So eventually, you've got to give it back. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they ended up. There was a couple of friends that we lost along the way that didn't get to see this album being released, and I've dedicated it to those guys.
Yeah. Do you want to give a call out to them, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, my good friend, a friend Stuart Lord and Martin Bedford, who is quite a prolific poster designer in our area.
Okay.
And some of his posters, they're really cool. I mean, he's
like a Peter Max kind of poster, or a poster for concerts, or
coaster.
You're not having any old soul over there, are you? No, we know you're not, because you can't get it yet in the UK.
No, it's clear what liquid I'm on.
Oh, good. Well, they make a vodka too, Tom.
Yeah, okay. So it might be that be sounds of it, but posters was his thing, and his support of the grassroots scene was.
So he would do a poster for, hey, Tom Killner's band is playing at X, and then he does the poster.
Yeah, I mean, we've had quite a few from him with the shows that he puts on, because he was a promoter as well. I mean, he's done a lot of posters for a lot of people. I mean, like Dwayne Eddy, for example, he's done his posters.
And he passed, sadly.
Yeah. It's just, there we go. We go back to borrowed time.
Yeah,
it's
right.
But he was one of the good guys, and I thought it was right to.
So you dedicated this album to him?
Yeah, I give a shout out to him.
I love it.
So wherever he is in the universe right now, so
listening, he's probably listening. I hope. We hope he's listening.
I hope so.
And then your formative years growing up, and I've heard you said it. Something it's famous for being like one of the most depressing places, or something. I don't know what the quote is.
I'll probably get shouted at now. I'll probably get lynched in Rotherham now for. But yeah, I mean, it was voted one of the worst places to live in the UK. So I'm not lying.
Why would that be, though? I don't understand.
It's just, I mean, it's a bit like, I suppose, like Detroit,
and
that sort of thing, where heavy industry, really heavy industry, and then it's just been ripped out really by successive governments and things like that.
But just like Detroit, you are birthed out of there, so the brilliant music of Tom Killner comes out of there, just like Motown and many, many others out of Detroit. So it's
I mean the music scene, especially in Sheffield, which is the big city next to our town, has got a fantastic music scene.
Interesting,
and there's great artists that's come out of there. I mean, Joe Cocker was just Sheffield guy,
which you feature on your live album, Little Help from My Friends.
Yeah, which a big love for Joe Cocker and Mad Englishman and Leon.
Oh my God! Yeah, unbelievable.
That's in fact that's one of my favorite albums. Actually, is that? But
is Mad Joe Cocker and the Mad?
Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Mad Dogs and Englishmen. I was having an old soul moment there. But Joe would be proud.
I hope so, because I mean, Joe was unique in his voice, really,
and his delivery, everything. Well, so that segues to what was the seminal moment? When did you? I've had a number of musicians say it was when they were in the car with their parents and X came on, whatever X music was, and that was it. And they remember it like it was, it's etched. Do you have one of those for you?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of moments like that. I mean, when I was really young, so about 5 or 6, when I was in the bath. We used to put the Beatles' #1 album on or something like that, and that sticks with me. Sort of must have had some form of effect on me, because I can remember it.
Of course.
But the main ones were, I mean, my dad's always had guitars around the house. He's a bass player.
Oh, bass player. Okay,
yeah. I mean, my dad used to play it on the first record. Actually, he was.
Oh, he did.
Bass.
Oh my God.
He was playing bass for me on that.
On Hard Road?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, be darned. What a treat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I've got, my dad's on a record. So but I mean, I've always known him playing guitars and basses in bands and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being in the car.
Yeah.
And he put Rory Gallagher on, and it was
no way.
It was the Calling Card album.
Yeah.
I remember that being on quite a lot in the car.
Yeah.
And it was just from the first song. I think it's "Do You Read Me," which is the first track on that.
Yeah.
And it comes in with the drums, just doing this beat. I was like, this is so cool.
So that's an album you would highly recommend if people don't have it in their collection.
Yeah, I would say if you want a Rory Gallagher,
yeah,
that one. I think it was Ian Glover from Deep Purple.
Yeah.
I think he had involvement with the production in that one.
I love it.
But yeah, Rory Gallagher, Calling Card. That was the album that went, oh, I'm interested in music here.
Yeah. Did your dad, were they hands off, kind of said, hey, if Tom wants to play, he can play? Or were they very, they like little league parent kind of things?
No, it was very, if you want to do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
But I've had the support from him, massive support from him, my parents. And sort of, they bought me a classical guitar. And I never really took to it.
Yeah.
But it was never like, you've got to learn this.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But then after that, I sort of picked up my dad's Telecaster that he had laying around. And I could never play it, but I used to mime to Status Quo records.
Yeah.
Probably drove them nuts.
Yeah.
Or wore the CD out from just constantly.
You wore which one out, Tom? Which CD?
It was basically a greatest hits of Status Quo.
Okay, yeah.
So nothing particularly interesting, really, but
it was what got you into playing that Strat.
Yeah, I was into it, and then I sort of headed up to I think it was high school, as you guys call it.
Yeah.
And I got my first guitar just before I headed up there, and then that was it. I was like, this is cool. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is.
And you knew in high school, or you guys call it, what's your secondary school or something?
Yeah, secondary school.
School.
That was my the moment when I got the electric guitar and got my own electric guitar, and it was like, this is it.
This is what you're going to do, and your parents are totally supportive of that.
Yeah, and they were like, if you want to do that, that's up to you. Don't spend your life regretting what you could have done. If you want to do it, do it.
I love it. Well, that cues up. You're going to take my job, Tom. That cues up No More. Because no more of that other stuff. Now I know what I'm going to do. So Wahid, if we could cue up No More off of Tom Killner, KILLNER.com. Buy the album, and this is off of Borrowed Time, No More.
Take me someplace to start a game where the ghosts and the memories won't follow me. Won't talk it over, you made it clear when it's all said and done. I'm not the one you really love. I don't feel no more. We can't win us both. When the young leaves are falling and we forget what we're fighting for, it's our curtain call when you'll come back for more. Go ahead and take the best shot while my back's up against the wall. Maybe I'm not the one you want me to be, all just a case of make-believe. Mistaken identity. Go ahead, I'll get
on Ride the Vibe. Michael Litten, the last DJ, saying what he wants to say, playing what he wants to play. And in this case, playing the great music from Tom Killner's new album, Borrowed Time. That was No More. And for you all, if you're in the UK, but you're a musician and you might be looking for a way to make some money while you sleep, Wahid Gomes has got a boutique publishing business, Verde Music, and you can reach out to him and he can talk to you all about that. But a cool opportunity to take your songs and get them placed on all these different shows, et cetera, et cetera. Tom, talk about No More, No More.
I think that one comes from basically past relationships. I mean, or people that's going through something similar to that, or a relationship that's broken down, and it's basically just can't do this no more. That's basically it. It's basically a breakup song.
No mas.
And that one was actually, I know I speak about like tracks that were wrote at certain times during the writing process.
Yeah.
But that one was written about 2 days before we recorded it.
Oh, wow.
So I went to the guys with it, and it was sort of a slower ballad type.
Yeah.
And we just weren't vibing it. It wasn't right. And then the drummer says, "Look, let's try this way," and that's the way it ended up.
Wow.
So that's No More. But it's also turned out to be one of my favorite tracks because it's got that Americana vibe. It's got the fiddle on there, and
I love it.
All sorts of things that I've never had on a record before. So, yeah.
That you could do because you're doing it independently.
Yeah.
You could do it the way you wanted, just like Tom Petty. Say what he wanted to say. So what is do you do all the writing, and then what's your collaborative process with the fellows?
The majority of the writing on this record has been myself.
Okay.
There's a guy right with Paul Butcher.
Okay.
He did a lot of writing for the last record. And we make a good team, really, of lyrical, because he sees things from a different perspective.
Yeah. Now, when you say last record, Church House Sessions or the Get Back Up?
The Get Back Up record.
Yep.
So we've spent quite a bit of time writing together, me and Paul. There's an artist called Kia that I'm working with. In a different group, but she's a phenomenal songwriter, and she's helped out with a few bits and bobs on this record.
Yeah.
And
then you take it to the mates in your rehearsal sessions, and then say, "What do you think?"
Yeah, pretty much. It's a case of getting a phone recording generally, because usually it's in the middle of the night where you come up with an idea or something like that. I'll work on it a little bit, and then go, "Right, guys, what do you think of this? I've got something new. Let's work on it."
And then your metric is if it sticks in your head and you can remember it, as you said about Borrowed Time.
Pretty much. If it does stick, I mean, I've got songs that I wrote many years ago.
Yeah.
That the melody is still in my head.
In your head. Wow.
Some of the lyric lines are still in my head.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's subliminal and it's actually another song by somebody else is another matter. But
I love
it. There are some that just sort of hang around for quite a while.
And then what was the decision, or was there ever a decision to, a lot of the musicians now are releasing singles and then they're doing an EP but you've been very mindful of doing albums like back, in the day.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. It's curious.
All the artists that I idolize and grown up with, they all did it that way.
Yes.
It was a couple of singles and then the album or something like that. I mean, to be fair, this time it's the first time that we've put a couple of singles out before the record.
Right.
And I think that was just basically a learning curve of the business and how to market it, really.
Mm-hmm.
But doing records, it's
in your DNA.
Yeah, it's an artistic thing. I don't like splitting everything up.
Right.
I mean, if you buy the record, then obviously you've got it in that order. That's how we made the record, and that's how we wanted it to be listened to.
Yeah. Well, and we're being mindful of that because that's you pick the songs. Except I got to pick one. We're going to feature that in a minute, but but we're playing it in the order of the album because I'm big on that as well, Tom. I think that's
I mean, I think it's got to have that flow to it.
Yes,
and it's a bit like building a set list when you're playing live. You've got to have that dynamic shift in between songs to basically engage who's listening.
Yeah.
Because if it all becomes, I mean, that goes for the same, to be fair, in going back to songwriting, is that you've got to have things that sort of pique the listener's interest.
Yes.
Or it just becomes sort of this one block of noise, really.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, where are we here? Have we changed song? Are we on the next track?
Yeah.
So I do like to keep things and throw some curveballs in there. Because it just, I mean, as a listener myself to records, I want to be...
That's the way you want to hear it. Sure, of course. Well, and so much of that's lost with this Spotify. I mean, would Ian Anderson have been able to do Thick as a Brick, in this day and age? You know, I mean, come on.
Where you're picking and choosing songs. And
right, how do you do that out of an epic like that?
Yeah. I mean, say like Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Right. How do you do that? I mean, seriously. So God bless you for that. Well, I want to cue up. This is, the last DJ, because I can say what I want. I get to pick my favorite. So this is my favorite song. We're going to cue up Heart of Gold. And then when we come back, Tom, think about, you've mentioned one, Roy Gallagher's Calling Card, but think of a couple more albums that you think, or you would recommend, let me put it that way, that listeners should have in their collection. We're going to play Heart of Gold, and then we'll be right back with Tom Killner.
Life ain't always what you expected, and it keeps on rolling on. Not gonna stop for nothing, no one can turn back time or change your mind. How could things get so bad? Think about those dreams you used to have. Don't let them turn to dust. Hold them tight. Don't let go. Dreams can be bought and sold. Nobody's on deep enough to take away your soul. Even when there's not left to hold, you still got that heart of gold. Giving you give and not to return. Might get bad sometime when the tables are turned. Keep on going through the hurt and the pain. We'll see you smiling one of these days.
That is Heart of Gold off of Tom Killner's brand new album, Borrowed Time. Y'all are hearing it. Really, it's going to be released here. This show will be released about the same time the album's released. So that was my favorite, Tom. Now talk about Heart of Gold.
Well, Heart of Gold was a song about basically not letting your dreams go, especially in this industry where there's so many people out to try and screw you, basically. There's no other way of saying it, really.
Yeah, right.
That's what it is. It's a business, and there are business people out there trying to make a quick buck off you. And so, I mean, I would say it's about record deals going bad and things like that, and industry things that's not particularly great. But it's just carry on with your dream of what you want to do.
Yeah,
and just keep on.
Well, that's why it resonated with me, because Petty was and I know he's one of your favorites, one of your new kind of favorites, or not new favorites, but someone you like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, with Tom Petty as growing up, I really didn't like Tom Petty in the album.
Interesting. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, I think Coming Home is the favorite albums and things like that. But Wildflowers,
right,
totally changed that for me.
Yeah,
and that was in like sort of the last.
I love it.
Fair few years, about 5 years ago, that I first started getting into Tom Petty really, and Wildflowers is one of my top albums. That's what I'd recommend for people.
I love it. Oh, good. So that's a second. I love that. That's
number two.
And he was someone who stood up to the record companies and just
he did. I mean, that guy is so cool.
Yeah.
I really wish I would have got to have seen him.
Yeah.
I know my drummer had tickets to see him on his last performance over in the UK.
No.
And he sold the tickets.
No.
He had a gig to do.
Oh, boy.
Of course, you've got to go and
Richie mistake.
You get that one.
My God.
I would have loved to have seen.
All right, so Wildflowers. So we got Roy Gallagher, Calling Card, and we got Wildflowers by Tom Petty. And then the conversation is flying by and time's is flying by, but we got to, not have to, but I think we need to. I think we want to cue up Light It Up. And then we're going to be right back, and Tom's going to give us his third recommendation for album you should have in your collection if you don't already. Light It Up, Tom Killner's new album, Borrowed Time. We are back on Ride the Vibe. Michael Litten, the last DJ, just having a great conversation and listening to some fantastic new music from Tom Killner, KILLNER.com, off his Borrowed Time. That was Light It Up. Tom, just in the couple minutes we have left, talk about Light It Up and then the last album you would recommend folks put in their discology.
Okay, so yeah, Light It Up was one of the oldest songs that I had written for this record.
Oh, interesting.
We've played it live for a long time, and it's always been a great live track.
Yeah.
Generally, we end the show on Light It Up because it's just that high energy. Just get out of the 9 till 5 and put on your dancing shoes and go out and have a few whiskeys and beers.
Some old souls.
Yeah, some old souls, man. Yeah. So it's just basically a good timing.
Yes.
Good timing song.
Yes. I love it. And talk about pacing, right? The pacing of the album, the pacing of a live show.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
You just got to take the audience on that
Journey.
ride of where is this going? Soft, slow,
Yeah, mix.
hard and fast. It's just take them on a little adventure for a couple of hours.
I love it. And what's the third? We got Roy Gallagher's Calling Card, Tom Petty's Wildflower, and what would you?
Allman Brothers, Eat a Peach.
Eat a Peach, yeah. And just to tell the story, you found it in a...
Yeah, I think that this is... It grew to be my favorite record.
Yeah.
Was I found it in a charity shop or a thrift store, if you're listening in the States. So it's not very often that you get to see an Allman Brothers record over here.
Interesting.
I mean, there is definitely the fan base there, but it's not sort of like your mainstream rock band that you would generally see.
Right.
You've got to ask specially for it if you sort of get that when you go into a record store.
I love it.
But yeah, I found that record and
great selection.
I mean, the cover alone, the artwork on it was just like
spectacular.
Oh, that's really cool. And then listen to it, I'm like, yeah, this is great. I mean, I'd already listened to the Allman Brothers, but I sort of had the Beginnings album and things like that, which was like the makeup of the first two albums or so.
But then hearing that and talking about albums and playing it, that's a double.
Yeah.
So, playing.
Yeah. I mean, that was cool. I mean, you got a bit of the live stuff on there. You still had Dwayne playing on that record.
God rest his soul. What a genius. Left us too early. Well, Hush Money, you're going on tour with Tom, and I've picked up, he wants some barbecue. And if you can get some moonshine or some old soul over to him, and then if you got an Allman Brothers album that you might want to bring over to Tom, I think he'd be very happy. Do I have that right, Tom?
Yeah, I think so. So we've got Allman Brothers, Old Soul, barbecue.
You'll be a happy camper, and that'll make their tour happy.
I think the term is happy as a pig in shit.
I love it. We can't wait for you to come to the States. Lucy Pillar, try to make that happen along with Wes O'Neill. Just a great conversation with Tom Killner. Y'all go out and buy his albums, because they're all great. TomKillner.com, and so you can make some money. We are out of here. Thanks so much, Tom. God bless.
Thank you so very much for having us. It's been great, man.